This episode is presented by Shaw. This month sees Europe's elite start to battle it out to become the best of the best. There's so much pressure at this level and you can't be distracted for one single second. It's so important that you keep fresh and focused, which is why it's good to have Shaw's non-stop protection range of antiperspirants to hand. 72-hour non-stop sweat and odour protection that'll keep you fresh and dry on and off the pitch. Shop now at Boots. Shaw, it won't let you down. Welcome to Fozcast. We have got a goalkeeper-specific episode for you today. So we're recording this on Monday. The transfer deadline is about half an hour away from slamming shut. And we have got ex-Watford goalkeeper coach, Arsenal Invincible, the legend, the main man himself, Graham Stack, with us to talk all things goalkeeping. What is the state of the goalkeepers in the Premier League today? Stacky, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, lads.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome back to the
second
podcast.
cap.
Yes, it was a while ago when we done the last one. This is lovely, by the way, in here.
Lovely little setup, isn't it? This isn't our official set.
Yeah.
We're just borrowing it for the day. We're in Spotify Studios on the Strand. It's some place, isn't it?
That's lovely, mate.
Some
nice.
gaff.
So goalkeeping, where do we stand currently? I was having a think on the way here and speaking to my son about the state of affairs of goalkeeping in the Premier League, and I look back at, you can name over a handful. So you look at Chelsea, Arsenal, you'd look at Courtois, you'd look at Cech, you'd look at Lloris at Tottenham, you'd go De Gea at United, you'd go Shay Given, Newcastle. You know, there were so many goalkeepers that I would call world-class goalkeepers.
Proper goalkeepers.
At the top of the game that made fewer mistakes than probably what we're seeing now. And I honestly, now there'd be reasons behind it, obviously, because the game has changed. So I think the onus and emphasis on goalkeepers to build attacks and play out and recycle the ball and manage the game, I think is evident. But on top of that, I think goalkeepers are playing with more risk. And I think we've seen most recently with Trafford, he's made mistakes. But I would also say the goalkeepers that I've mentioned previously are probably more experienced, bigger characters and make their own mind up and make their own decisions on the ball. Whereas I think sometimes goalkeepers are forced into playing a certain way, and I think it's detrimental to themselves. I know it's probably what the team want them to do, but the flip side of that is there's more mistakes being made, and I think it's becoming very, very evident that.
Do you think that the goalkeeping standard then is lower today than what it was, say, 10 years ago, for example?
Absolutely, yeah. Now, I don't know if that's to do with... Listen, I've been a goalkeeping coach. I've been fortunate enough to work with you, Fozzy. I would like to say that the position is a simple position, but there's loads of elements that you need to be brilliant at. First and foremost, it's the fundamentals and the basics of goalkeeping, which is keeping the ball at the back of the net. Now, whether or not goalkeeping coaches have started to try and rewrite the book a little bit, whether their training methods have changed, whether they've neglected the basics, and they're now trying to turn their goalkeepers into better players and better goalkeepers, I'm not sure. But certainly looking at the goalkeepers we're currently sort of blessed with in the Premier League, because there are some top goalkeepers. You know, I personally a big admirer of Raya and also Martinez, but I'm looking at Sanchez, I'm looking at the lad at Tottenham, I'm looking at what's going on at City at the moment with Ederson probably on the cusp of leaving, or I did really like. I know Trafford's a young goalkeeper, so it's not. I don't think the goalkeeping position is anywhere near what it was years ago.
Okay, so one club that are very topical with regards to goalkeeping at the minute is Manchester United. So spent an awful lot of money on Andre Onana a couple of years back. What was it, 50-odd mil?
50-odd mil.
50-odd mil. It's fair to say he didn't set the world alight, did he? A lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. And then they've started the season with Altay Bayındır in goal. And I think it's fairly obvious that if Onana isn't the answer, then Bayındır definitely isn't the answer as well. Yeah. So today, transfer deadline day, they've signed a new goalie, 23-year-old Sene Lammens from Royal Antwerp. So you've actually had experience playing in Belgium.
Yeah.
Is this a risk for Man United?
I think when you're signing a goalkeeper as inexperienced as that, played in and around 50 competitive games, with respect to the Belgian league, the top flight, it's a league I've played in. There's 3 or 4 really strong sides over there, Club Brugge, Anderlecht, Stade Liège. But for him to come over here at the age his age he's currently at, he hasn't got a senior cap yet
for Belgium.
And I think that's huge pressure, not only on him, but I just think I think it's a real bold move from a club to sign someone. Now, if you're signing him and you've got 2 goalkeepers that are clearly out of sorts, I think your hand will be forced into saying, well, if you've signed him for X amount of money, 20 odd million, he's got to go straight into the side. And I think that's tough for a fairly young lad who's fairly inexperienced. I think if you're an older goalkeeper and there's quite a big fee over your head, I think you can handle that because you've probably had hundreds of games behind you, international experience. But then to walk into a club as big as Old Trafford in the state it's in, because it is an estate at the minute, I think he would be under huge pressure. It won't be easy for him. However, it's evident the club need to make changes. I think they were both poor signings. And just going back to the Onana one, when he was away at the African Nations, there was a big fallout, and I remember him being sent home, if I remember rightly, and it was due to disagreement with the manager over the way the team was playing and over how he wanted to play. And for me, that's a major red flag. If you're not buying into what's best for the group and doing what you want to do because you think it's the way you want to play, I think that's very detrimental to the group, and I think it's disrespectful. So that was a red flag for me straight away. And having watched him more closely since he's been here, I've never, ever been convinced. He'll make some outstanding saves, which is what we do, but to play at a high level consistently and be reliable and sort of breed confidence throughout the team, I do not think he has that.
Isn't the absolute minimum standard of performance in the Premier League nowadays that you have to be a world-class shot stopper? All of them.
Have to be.
They all are.
Yeah.
So it's not enough, is it? But you look at the situation United are in, like you said, it's not a good state at the moment. And right now, where they are, he can't be the guy. Like, surely
I think it's affecting the group, I'll be honest with you. So I honestly think that it's affecting players around him. It will definitely be affecting people that he's playing with, whether that's defenders or whether that's just the team in general. If I've played in teams before, I know when the boys are backing me. I know that they turn around and they go, I'm happy he's playing today. I'm happy he's playing today.
But let's say,
I know they're not.
Let's say there's a huge if. Yeah. He's the next David De Gea, right? Huge if. Yeah. David De Gea didn't have it his own way to start with.
It took him a couple of years to get going.
And United right now
need
can't
somebody
afford
good
that,
to
can
go.
they? They need a Emi Martinez. They need a Donnarumma. They need someone that's been there and done it, surely.
It's that aura. I need somebody with aura. For Manchester United, again, I'll say it, I think it's the hardest club in the world to play for. And I think being goalkeeper for Man United is the hardest goalkeeping position to play in world football. Yeah. So you need someone with big, broad shoulders, somebody that has got this.
But he gives that off though, Fozzie. So you would look at him and he talks.
Onana.
Yeah, he talks of arrogance. He talks of confidence. But is he really that? Is he really that person, or is that a facade? Is that what he wants people to perceive him as? Because for me, he said things last season in the Champions League. I forget who they were playing, but I know he made some comments on the opposition or players and whatever else. And I don't know if that's a bit of a front.
Yeah.
And what I would do if I was him, I'd just leave that to someone else now and just start.
Let your football try and do the talking.
Yeah, start being concerned about your performances and the level of your performance, because he's absolutely miles off at the minute. And one thing I will say, if they bring someone in, the crazy thing is now they've just brought someone in. Now they're going to have all 3 goalies because it's too late for the other 2 to move on. Now I guarantee you now, Onana will not be. Well, I can't guarantee that because I don't know him personally. But how will that affect the other goalkeeper that's just come in? Because I'd imagine, having an idea about what sort of character is, I bet you won't be the easiest to get on with now. If he does get left out the side and this young lad comes in, I can't imagine he's going to be putting an arm around this young lad and saying, I wish you the best.
There's the culture of the goalkeeping department. You guys know better than anybody, but you're now in a position where you've got Tom Eaton as 4.
Yeah, he'll be brilliant with him. Yeah. If that was the case, Tom would be brilliant with him.
Bayande and Onana, who's 2.
And then this new kid as number 1. I've watched a lot of videos of his YouTube, and it's, as it always is the highlights, it's the saves,
the best bits,
the way that he moves around the goal, the best bits. And he looks on the eye test like he's a competent goalkeeper. He's a big lad. I would worry he's maybe a little bit too big and heavy, if that makes sense. Maybe big and heavy. Yet to see what he's like with the ball at his feet. But I wouldn't sign a goalkeeper based on his YouTube highlights. I would sign a goalkeeper based on the goals that he conceded.
Do you think they've actually been? Do you think he's been on the radar for them for a while, or do you think they've just completely?
I think
panicked?
it's a panic buy.
Yeah.
I think it's a panic buy. I think United have probably always got some sort of a list somewhere of these goalkeepers that they need to look at. They have to keep tabs on. There'll be scouts all over the world making sure, he's played another game, he's getting a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. But I don't think they're doing their in-depth analysis,
look
right?
At Liverpool. Look at Liverpool, Ben. Like, we're talking about a young goalkeeper, and what I don't want to be is disrespectful to the lad, because I don't know him, don't know his goalkeeping ability, right? But look at Liverpool, right? Like last Euros, Mamardashvili.
Wow.
Potential. But don't just bring him in as a one.
No, it's too much to ask. The Premier League is it's the toughest league in the world. It really,
I
really
think the
is.
demands putting a goal in the Premier League are bigger than greater than any other league in terms of balls in the box and
everything. The pressure. I think it's the pressure is the big. That's what I'm saying about I need a goalie with aura. If you give me an Emi Martinez or you give me a Gigi Donnarumma, right, I can just tell by looking at them, their body language, their facial expressions, right, they do not care about that external noise.
Yeah.
It ain't even entering their sphere, Stacky. Do you know what I mean?
When you've won some massive. I think it helps when you've won everything known to man between the two of them.
They have though.
Best
between the
goalie
two
in the
of them.
World Cups, Euros. So yeah, I mean they're standouts. But for me, I just don't get why United haven't
gone for someone proven.
Big money. Get the big dog done. Get one of them by spending whatever it is, 30, 40, 50 mil, but get it done properly.
Emi was apparently he had already agreed terms.
The fact that he missed Aston Villa's game the other night tells me that there was a deal very close.
What do you think's gone wrong there then?
Oh, it could be a million things. It could be a medical issue. It could be wages issue. It could be transfer fee between the two clubs. None of us yet know what it is, but I just think that any of that could have been overcome.
But if you're paying 22, 23 mil for this goalkeeper, why aren't you doing 35 for the World Cup winning goalkeeper?
That's the bit there.
That's the one that's the bit I'm confused with. Makes no sense, but they should have had this. Like, look, I know Onana weren't good enough last season, so it's not like these last few games.
Yeah, it's like a shock. It's like suddenly occurred to them or something.
Like, that's really poor planning and poor recruitment. If they honestly thought, if Amorim thought last season, having seen Onana over a period of time from when he came in the club, if he's not going to win his summer holidays thinking, I need a new goalie, I think something's seriously wrong.
Would this be a sensible way of recruiting goalkeepers, Stacky, right? I've got a list of 3 goalies that I like, and I'm undecided as to which one I want. They're all the same value, right? I've got my YouTube highlights. They're the 3 I like. The highlights are brilliant. Saves for fun. They're coming out for crosses, blah, blah, blah. But what I really want to see is the goals that they've conceded. I want to see every goal that's been conceded by that goalkeeper, and I want to be able to look at it by a goalkeeper coaching perspective and go, could that goalie have done any better in that goal to stop that ball going in the back of the net? And then you have a yes, you have a no, and you have a maybe. Yeah. And I'm totting them all up, and I'm looking at but I
guarantee you as well, Fozzie, there'll be a theme in the goals he concedes. So he might concede loads of goals from wide areas. So you'd probably break that down as well. Shots from distance, one-on-ones. Angle strikes or whatever area it might be, some cross from wide. But you'll start to see there might be a theme in his deficiencies as a goalkeeper.
And the world we live in now, though, if I'm doing that research to try and sign him, the opposition will be doing that research against him when they come and play against him. So they will know the best chances of scoring are by a wide ball into the box, into this near post, because he don't quite shuffle along enough. He still stays at the back of it. He's lazy. All those little bits and bobs. Other oppositions are doing it now. The analysis is phenomenal, isn't it?
So when you've been at the club, Stacky, how long typically in your experience would a goalkeeper be on the radar for? So
it's getting earlier and earlier.
I would doubt, personally, hearing what you're hearing, knowing what you know, how long United will have been looking at this guy.
He's a Belgian under 21. Now, I know any major tournament that takes place at under 18, under 16, under 21 level, they will be flooded with people
Scouts,
from different clubs, most notably the top clubs in Europe. I mean, when I was over in Israel, I was at Tel Aviv. Dan was he was Israel under 21 international. He went and he got moved to Bayern Munich. I'm not saying that's because I worked with him for a week, but he ended up going to Bayern Munich and was behind Neuer. But he would have already had. We already knew there was huge interest from around Europe, and it was linked with Liverpool. So when you're playing in these tournaments, you're certainly getting a lot of exposure, and you will be flagged up. There's no two ways about it. Now, whether or not that was the case, I'm not sure. But flagging someone up and then paying 20-odd million for them that's a big deal, and that's, in my opinion, that's a big risk.
I just think deadline day, goalkeeper signing, tells me that your club is desperate.
I would love to know the stats on how many goalkeepers move on a deadline day. It's very rare. But we're talking about 5 already.
Goalies are one of the first positions you sort, isn't it? One of the first ones you sort normally is you sort your number one out. You make sure your number one is sorted and good to go.
Yeah, pre-season.
You do not wait till 2-3 games into the season before you go, God, that little risk that we took at the beginning, it doesn't work, so we need to go and get someone now.
Again, it's United. It worries me. It's like succession planning, isn't it? So, like the Mamardashvili one, you can see what they've done. They've bought him in. They've recognised him. They send him back out on loan. Kelleher goes out.
That's what I mean.
He's next in line as number 2. And you'd like to think if that succession plans goes as it should, he'll step up when Alisson
That
leaves.
Liverpool, right there, you said it, you nailed it. Look at that succession planning from Liverpool. You're talking about proper big dog, proper Premier League professional goalkeepers, yeah? Alisson, Kelleher, Mamardashvili could get into pretty much any team in that Premier League. That's the level we're operating at
that's what
for the
number
number 1 team in the world, the number 1 team in the country. Sorry, that's what it should look like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Arsenal, for
just
example.
Kepa, for example. So
Arsenal,
straight away,
exactly
you
that.
know, with the amount of games they're going to be playing, then obviously with European competition and the cup, so they will need. You need 2, 3. You know, I think top goalies, certainly 2.
I know Arsenal had it a couple of seasons ago with Aaron and David, but in the end it got ironed out quite quickly.
Yeah.
But Kepa's signing, and he knows what he's coming in at, and the goalkeeping pecking order is very, very clear. But
And he's Spanish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They'll get on like a house on fire.
And Inaki's Spanish, isn't he?
The goalie coach is Spanish.
So,
it works. It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, he's got experience at the very, very top. So having him as a number 2, you're not concerned if you have to throw him in, for example, not just for 1 or 2 games, but if you had to give Kepa a run in the side, I think you'd be fairly confident the way Arsenal play.
And with all the cup competitions, you'd like to think he'll play 10, 15 games this season at some point.
Yeah.
Obviously, United don't have that, do they?
No, they don't. Stacky, thank you for coming in today. You are here because you're going to talk about your exciting new boxing project. In a minute, we're going to talk about balls first, okay, yeah?
Okay.
New balls.
Yep.
New shiny Puma balls.
Yeah.
How much does the ball change how a goalkeeper plays football, how he catches it, how he kicks it? Is it everything, or does it make no difference whatsoever?
I certainly think the balls have changed over time. Getting more aerodynamic, they're getting quicker. They're still around. And I'm playing with the same ball as you're playing with. So, in terms of is there any advantages or disadvantages that any team or opposition? There's not. It's the same throughout. From a goalkeeping perspective, I think it has made things slightly more difficult in terms of the way the ball's moving. I mean, you got to see yesterday, the strike from Sloboslai. I mean, whether or not you would have got that kind of, it was like a knuckleball, wasn't it? It kind of, look, I hate making excuses for goalkeepers, but they are changing balls, I think, to try and create greater goals.
I would love to see how quick that goal went in from leaving Szoboszlai's foot to
I
go
think
in.
It sped up.
I totally agree. It looks like it speeds up the further it gets nearer to the goal, right?
Yeah.
And by the time it's gone in, the goal, I bet you it's about a second. It's about a second, right?
Yeah.
And when we're talking these tiny, minute details, and again, people go, no, you're just sticking it for goalkeepers, right?
Yeah.
When that ball moves, even an inch to the left or right, when it's travelling at that speed and you've got such little time to react to it, honestly, mate.
Well, I'll ask you
all
a
bets
question,
are off.
right? If people think I'm mad, I would rather someone smash one at me from 10 yards or with inside 10 yards. I'd fancy myself to either read it or just get something in the way and make a block. If you hit one from 40 yards, it's panic stations because I'm worried it's going to dip in front, bounce, kick up or move late on. The more time you've got to think about it, the longer you have to think, the harder
it's
it
horrible.
is.
The worst ones are 40-yarders that don't touch the ground. The ones that are 40-yarders and they're head height all the way, right?
And you're going like that.
And you're watching it.
And when it comes off, is it when it comes off Gareth Bale's left foot as well?
Gareth Bale's, Harry Kane's right foot, left foot, honestly, devil feet they've got. They kick it and they are munting it. Oh, disgusting.
Back in the day, like you used to be, anything from 40 yards was an immediate catch. You've got to be able to catch it from there. Now it's you don't even try and hold it.
Nope.
It's a case of like just batting out into a nice
area. Is that
area.
why the goalies do it nowadays? Is that why? Because sometimes when I watch football,
I'd still like to go. I'd still like to see goalkeepers back himself a little bit. He had unbelievable hands.
Catch it more.
And catch it more. It does frustrate me because look, my boy plays in goal. He's 12, And even when I watch him play, I'm saying, son, you got to catch that.
Yeah.
But because he's obviously watching people on TV.
Come here quickly. Come on, get in quick. Just stand in front of the camera. Look at Mini Stack.
Come
by
and
the
sit
way.
next to me, Ben, for a second.
It's chip off the old block, I think they call it. Look at this. Look at these. Look at this.
This is my young apprentice. This is my protege.
Right. So who do you play for right now? Into there.
Watford FC.
You play for Watford FC. Goalkeeper, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Who's your favourite goalkeeper in the Premier League at the moment?
Probably David Raya.
Oh, what is it about David Raya?
The way he distributes the ball is, I think, phenomenal.
Speaking to the mic.
Yes, go on. Speaking to the way he distributes the ball, you think's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and his handling and
Yeah.
the way he moves across the goal, his quick feet, I think it's really good.
Yeah, we agree with that, don't we, Stacky?
Yeah, spot on.
Spot
Yeah,
on.
good
Absolutely bob on. All right, Mini Stacky, go. Get her back over there, you little.
Good boy.
Well spoken, mate. You speak better than your dad, you do.
Yeah. We need a new goalkeeper a bit of analysis, don't we?
Okay. What were we talking about? New balls then, yeah.
Yeah.
So what people don't realise as well is the sort of the lamination on these balls as well nowadays, Stacky. It's like this brand new balls, especially brand new, if they're out of the packet, never been used before, pumped up, and it's just being used as the match ball, which quite often happens now. It's never even kicked about on the pitch before, right? It's brought out, it's plonked in the centre circle, and it's a brand new ball. That ball is a different ball to the one that you've trained with all week, and it's different ball to the one that you've used in the warm-up as well, isn't it?
It's like the FA Cup. Do you remember when you have the FA Cup, so you're playing in the Premier League and you get Premier League balls, and then the week of the FA Cup, the FA or whoever
sponsors it,
would normally send you through 20, 30 balls for you to use in the build-up to the FA Cup because they're different. And I remember we got balls like the day of the game, and we hadn't been using the FA Cup balls. And we've got the kit man pumping them up, and I've gone out in the warm-up, and it was like a bar of soap because they hadn't been. It's like you need to break them in effect. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have to get that little glaze off the top of them. And that just proved my point. Exactly what you're saying there. If you haven't had an opportunity to work with them or train with them, then they're hard work, aren't they?
Goalies as well, like it's such an in your head position, right? So if you have any bit of a doubt about your gloves or the ball and about that contact, any little bit of a doubt, my gosh.
I think so Fozzie, I went for a little bit of that where I was everything had to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? My warm-up, my preparation for a game and my routine. But do you know what? I think that can bog you down as a goalie because I think you're trying to control too much. You've just got to simplify the game and the warm-up and just feel good. Put yourself in a good place.
Yeah, I agree.
Go into a game feeling confident and physically fit. And I think if you back yourself and you're good enough, the rest can take care of itself.
You mentioned a warm-up there, okay?
Yeah.
Just taking it back a second to recruiting a new goalkeeper, all right?
Yeah.
You've been a goalie coach. You've been on that sort of goalie board of trying to recruit a new goalkeeper and going to watch goalkeepers, right?
Yeah.
How would you go about searching for a goalkeeper that you want to sign?
Yeah, first and foremost, you draw up a shortlist, and the shortlist is going to have to consist of goalkeepers that fit in to the style of play that the manager wants to play. That's an absolute given. Okay, you'll probably know who they are anyway because you'll be recruiting from probably the same level you would have played against them or come up against them at some point. I think the next biggest thing is to know about their character. Now, I might not know anything about you personally, but I can phone them and say, what's he like? And I would get an insight by someone that I would either had trained with him, had coached him, or worked with him at some point, because I think that's key. I mean, not only like my goalie coach, and I don't want to work with people that haven't got the right mentality or not dedicated enough or not committed enough. I want to work with one good people, two very good goalkeepers, and that would be a starting point for me before I've even gone to watch them. I'd want to know exactly what they're like as a person. And then when you identify 2, 3, 4, whatever it might be, I would always get to the game early. Yes, I'd watch clips. I'd do exactly what Fozzie just said. I'd watch a lot of goals conceded because when you see the best bits, or I'd watch 2 full games. So you watch 2 full games, probably his most recent games, and then you'd watch goals he's conceded. If you still felt there was a good opportunity and he still kind of fit the bill, but you were unsure and you went to watch him, I'd go and watch the warm-up. I'd be there first, and I would want to see his body language when he walks out the tunnel. I would want to see how he presents himself, or his boots undone. I see some goalies do warm-ups with boots undone. I can't get my head around it. And I just look to see, just for little things, tiny little snippets of, is he sloppy? You know, does he look the part? Is he focused? Is he tuned in? Has he done things right? Is he kicking the ball off the pitch in a warm up? Is he talking to other players? Is he too bothered about talking to fans and signing autographs? Is it, you know, how long has he been out there for? Every warm up's different for every goalkeeper. I get that, but there will be certain elements of a warm up that I think must be done professionally and done properly. So that's a big deal for me, is watching the warm up. But then and then in the game, look, we can all have great games, we can all have bad games, but I think over a period of time, a test of time is, look, 5 or 6 games, go and watch a goalkeeper. Then I think you can build up a fair sort of conclusion on whether or not he's going to fit the bill. But as I say, he's going to watch a warm up. It's not something that a lot of goalkeeping coaches have done. I haven't spoke to them, but it's certainly something I've done over the past.
It's mad, isn't it? Some goalkeeper coaches never even go to watch the goalie warm up, do it all those little bits that people just don't think matter, but they matter so much, so much, don't they? That walking out of the tunnel bit you said there, like, it's massive. Like, walking out, shoulders pushed back, boots done up properly, gloves done up properly, you look the part, you feel the part, you're ready to go, you walk on the pitch, you're clapping the fans and stuff, and then you might have a little bit of conflab with your lads and kicking the ball about or whatever, but as soon as you go into those first set of 10 volleys, mate.
Sometimes even as a fan, you watch it on TV, and there was a goalkeeper I watched recently on TV, and I just thought, he was like shrugged down, he doesn't look big, he looked smaller than what he was. And I was thinking,
body language,
mate, like,
but for me, what an opportunity to build confidence. Yeah, you've worked hard all week. You put yourself in the best position to have a great game, but that can all be undone in an half-hour warm-up if you haven't done that properly. And all of a sudden, your psyche goes from turning up at the game feeling ready and to perform, and then within a half-hour warm-up, because you've been sloppy and not done things properly, you can actually go into the game thinking, end up having a nightmare.
Yeah. Do you think that? You said about the overall quality in the Premier League maybe has dipped a bit. Do you think that's because of training? So you were saying to me recently, Ben, that somebody you know, a goalkeeping coach you know, said now for the first half an hour of a session, 40 minutes of a session, they just play with the ball at their feet, like they're outfield players, for the first half an hour, 40 minutes or so.
Every session?
Virtually every session until the Friday, really, where it's like, right, we're really going to buckle down on it. But for the majority,
Friday, when the game's on a Saturday.
Yeah, they'll get the ball in their hands properly. But for the first half an hour, 40 minutes, they're joining in with the outfield players. They're doing their own kind of passing drills and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
they'll do a little bit of hands before they join in with the team.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's only Friday where they really get a goal.
So as training,
that would be completely the opposite to how I would operate as a goalkeeping coach. I certainly would not be getting the ball in my hand on a Friday. Like I'm sure they do some work, but I'm all for goalkeepers being involved in passing drills, being involved in rondos. But I'm talking about, you know, specific passing drills or patterns. I think that's good because you can start to create a picture of how the game's going to look for you. And whether look, when there's sometimes you work with 5-6 goalies, there's loads of fun little passing drills you can get on, but actually make them realistic and relevant to where you're going to be in relation in a game, for example. But yeah, I would spend. I mean, look, we used to love getting the balls out. We used to play head tennis for 20 minutes, didn't we? Like every morning. Mate. That was a bit of fun. But
head tennis it was more than 20 minutes, Stacky.
All right,
we used to get carried out. Honestly,
but you'd be surprised at how bad some goalies are.
If we started at 10:30, right? The training we're supposed to be out there for 10:30. We were out there at 9:45, 10 o'clock, and we had already started head tennis, and it would go into another 15-20 minutes of the session. So we were doing 45-50 minutes of head tennis.
Who was the head tennis kings goalkeeper-wise?
We were very good. We were very good.
A lot of the time. We played against Dan.
But it was amazing how you'd play against some people at head tennis and their touch is brutal. They haven't got that competitive ruthlessness to do overhead kicks at the
what are you like compared to the outfield players at head tennis?
We'd beat them all the time, mate.
But
really?
100%.
The goalies always used to, well, in my opinion, in my experience,
we were the best
to dominate outfield players. But one thing, just going back to the point I mentioned about the whole psyche of goalkeepers. Now, obviously, when I was at Watford and we're in the Premier League, Fozzie's Watford's number one. Okay, there's no dispute. So I'm also saying, right, how do I get this goalkeeper to feel $1 million? Right, I'm not going to tell Ben Foster that we're doing this today and we're going to do that for 20 minutes. Then we're going to go into that. That's not. During the week we'll have a plan as to what we need to cover throughout the week. But on a Friday, if we got a game on a Saturday, I want to make him
do what he wants.
I want to make him feel good.
Yeah,
he'd go, gets 10 hands. I want 10 crosses. I want to strike a few. Just hit a few from the edge of the box.
Yeah.
I said, are you happy? He said, yeah, I'm bang on.
Do you know that you were always kind of... Do you know that... I think this is a theme here when we've had Watto on and Cuts on. Do you know that you were basically being manipulated all week?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I loved it. But it was
You
good.
just
It
didn't care.
It was for the greater good. The greater good.
greater
It was for the
good.
greater good because I knew it, he knew it, they knew it, and that was just what it was.
And just on that, it's important that the other goalkeepers understood that.
Get on board, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, look, boys, Fozzie's obviously starting tomorrow. We're going to make sure that the basically session evolves around him today. When we're done and Fozzie goes over and does set plays and works with a team or goes through some team shape, I'll keep the other two who aren't involved, and so there might be probably took you and Dan or you, Aurelio, whoever, and then I would take probably whoever's left over, and then we would do some work, for example, just to make sure, or we would all go over and we'd do it at the end.
This is where, right, it's so important to have a distinguished pecking order of goalkeepers, right? And we're talking about it with Man United. There's plenty of other goalkeepers. And
so what's training going to be like next week?
So listen to this, right? So when we've done our bit of training session and I feel good because I'm number one, I'm ready to go tomorrow, I go over with the team and I'm doing my set plays with them and that. The remaining goalkeepers, which could be another senior goalkeeper who's got a bit of a gripe who thinks he should be number one. Yep. You've got a younger lad and you've got a younger lad. 3 other goalkeepers, yeah? And Stacky's got to put a session on for them. And knowing Stacky the way I know Stacky, he is a hard-working goalkeeper coach. He's a hard-working goalkeeper. When he was a goalie, he used to work his socks off. And when it was his time to do a bit of work, he'd be working it. So he would expect that from the other goalkeepers. So the 3 goalkeepers that aren't playing tomorrow go with him to do a session, a proper session. But you've got people who are a little bit disgruntled and they don't want to work hard and they're throwing their toys out the pram. And you would want to lose your shit at them like you wouldn't believe, wouldn't you?
Because I could understand it, but I would never have done that. So I'm very respectful. If I'm not in a team, I'm not in a team. Do I want to play? Of course I want to play. Do I want to smash the gaffer's door down? Absolutely. But what I'm not going to do is be disrespectful to the goalkeeping coach and not buying some
and
way.
The other player, the other goalies
and the other goalies. And not just that. For me, I could not finish my week like that. If I was going to the hotel knowing I hadn't trained properly on a Friday, that's how I get better. That's how I feel better. I'd come out. I would want to go in the gym. I'd want to do more. Because I would not accept and I would not be satisfied by finishing my week off on that tone, by having the ump and falling out with people. It's easily done and I've seen it, but it probably has a negative effect on you, to be fair, as a goalkeeper.
So what happens when you're away with England then? So ultimately you've got 3 number ones coming together that'll be number one for the club.
Even then, you've got a pecking order.
But you'll know.
You know the pecking order. And our job as number 2 or 3 goalkeeper, to get behind Joe Hart, for example, we do whatever he needs. Yeah? Team players get behind the number 1 and you do whatever he needs and you're cheerleaders and you're blowing smoke up his ass.
Was Harty similar to you in terms of what he needed?
Harty needed a bit more than me. He wanted to be worked. I think he was a little bit of a similar character to Stacky, where he's got a lot of energy and he needs to kind of dull it down a little bit. So he would be diving around like a madman. He would do a much more extended session than what I would do. A lot more dives, a lot more contacts, a lot more kicking, everything, a bit more than what I would do. But he needed that to kind of probably just settle his nervous system a little bit so that he can go into the game a little bit calmer.
Nice. Should we talk about these boxing gloves behind your head?
Why have we got boxing gloves behind us, Stacky?
Yeah, so this is a project I've been working on for about the last 6 months. So the idea come about. There was a number of reasons, really. Having spoke to quite a few ex-players, probably I would say probably within the last year, really, and it was conversations that all sounded the same. What you're up to, and I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing that. Any advice? And I was having these chats confidentially, and some very good friends of mine, some people that I've just come across sort of in the game at some point, and I was trying to think of something that we could collaborate, do something together, but also try to come together to raise money. So the charity football games are amazing, but we don't really raise enough money. I played in one at the Emirates, over the summer, and it's brilliant. But how can we really make a dent? How can we really make a difference? Golf days, all well and good, but not really changing enough. So I was sat at home and I thought, what about boxing? I thought, what about if I could get 10 ex-professional football players in the ring to compete almost like exhibition style, 5 bouts, 3 2-minute rounders, head guards, 16-ounce gloves. I thought, I reckon I could get a few that would fancy it, because a lot of the boys stay fit, a lot of the boys are in the gym.
Mate, got that competitive spirit.
They've got that competitive edge, and some of them fancy themselves. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna throw it out there. Spoke to a few people. I'm up for that. I fancy that. Definitely put me down. So I thought, right, okay, so we're getting there now. Where's it going to be? So I was looking I thought, why not do the Grosvenor in London? 1,000 people, probably the most prestigious venue, the Great Room in London. There's probably, arguably, with one or two others, but I've been there for a few events in the past, and I thought, imagine if I could do that. And then I thought, right, yes, this is great. It's a platform for players to have structure, some stability, something to train for, to help them, not just physically, but also mentally, to give them an opportunity to reconnect with ex-players, give them a platform to, because when you stop playing football, the phone stops. The inbox messages slow down, and it's just that void, it's that space, it's that time in your life where you feel like you're trying to find yourself, and it's actually what can we do to try and give that back. So for me, it's going to watch Lee Trundle train with Enzo Macronelli, going to watch Paddy Kenny train with Dave Caldwell.
Big Paddy's doing it. Go on, the Padster.
I was going to say,
I don't want to be getting in the ring with him, mate.
Who's going to be fighting who? Do we know anymore?
So the matchups we're going to be releasing the matchups probably as of next week.
You got any more names for us?
Curtis Davis, Jody Morris, David Bentley.
David Bentley. Ooh.
Jody Morris, David Bentley.
Yeah. So we've got some other big uns as well that I haven't mentioned.
What, Paddy Kenny big un?
No, Paddy Kenny big. Yeah, Paddy Kenny's
want to fight Curtis
Who's Paddy
Davis?
Kenny going to be up against?
Curtis Davis, he's rangy.
Mate, Paddy Kenny's an absolute unit. He's from Sheffield, mate. He'll batter you.
Yeah, Paddy's.
He was like, Stacky used to go out. That was his favourite part of the night. The fight was the best bit.
You fighting?
I was down to fight and I was training. So me being me, I knew that this event was going to be in October, so I started training 5 months ago because I wanted to be fit.
Mate, he's fighting with no gloves.
Mate, if somebody drops out, you are guaranteed jumping in.
Do you know what it is, right? I would love to do it. It's been it's on my bucket list. I want to do a white collar fight, but I was also, I don't want to do it not for free. I don't want to get paid at all. But you'd be surprised. I have asked a lot of people that you would assume that would fancy it, but I have declined the offer.
Nah, shithouses.
Yeah.
We've got a few shithouses, Stacky.
I'm not a grass, so I'm not going to say. But we have had a few that have turned it down.
You tell us afterwards, yeah?
I'll tell you confidentially, yeah. But I can't tell you now. But the other thing is, if there are players, ex-players that do want to get involved, then we will be doing 3 events a year. So the plan is to have one up in Liverpool or Manchester in June of next year, and we will have the top 5 Northern fighters fight the top 5 Southern fighters.
This, Stacky.
And then we are going back to the Grove the next October to have almost like a best of England, if you like.
Well, if you can put us down for a few grand sponsorship, we would love to get involved and help you out.
That's a few, Fozzie. Steady on, mate.
I would love you to come.
What's a few? 2 or 3? We'll go down for 2 or 3 grand, mate.
Why don't you take a table? I want you to come so we can do something on a table for you.
Beautiful, mate.
We'll come to an agreement on the table. You can have a Fozcast table. You can have 10 guests as well. I would love that. And just while I'm on here, if people do want to come to the event, or you do want to sponsor a boxer, then you can go to proprojectpromotions.com. There are all different table packages there. They're all VIP tables. Some are ringside, some are second row, and so on and so on and so on. And then you can sponsor a boxer. So if you want to sponsor, for example, David Bentley, you get your logo on his robe and your logo on the shorts and on his gloves, and he will sign the gloves.
I want Paddy Kenny. I want Paddy Kenny. Simple as that. So Pro Project Promotions.
Yeah, Pro Project Promotions.
We'll put a link in the description down below as well.
Are we sponsoring Paddy?
I want Paddy Kenny.
Yeah, I think Paddy might have gone.
Nah.
We'll ask. We'll find out.
Mate, I'm going to gazump him. Whoever sponsored it, I'm going to gazump it, mate. All right.
Do you know what? We could. If you want to, you could walk him in the ring. Why don't you pay to walk him in? Be his walk on. You can walk in with Paddy Kenny. You can donate. You can donate. That's what we should do. We should be donating an opportunity to walk in the ring. I'm actually going to add that to one of the packages because I think people might want to walk in.
Mate, I agree, mate.
Can't we just get Fozzie to be his hype man, or get him in there?
There'll be somebody.
Just a quick one as well, Fozzie. While I've got you here, I want to auction off a 5-a-side team. So ideally, me, you, Steve Sidwell, Peter Crouch, Jay Bothroyd, and I want to auction off an opportunity to play against us in a.
You can go and go. I'll go and go.
So ideally, we want a 5-a-side team. And we will auction that off at the auction. So it might be a company in central London that want to play against us, and we can put a 5-a-side tournament together with 5 other teams.
Beautiful.
And there'd be 10-minute
Crouchy
games,
up
5
top.
minutes each way.
Oh, big man at the top. Damn right.
Yeah.
Pro Project Promotion. It's in the link below. Stacky, that's top class. I love it, mate. Right, let's talk about goalkeepers again, Stacky. Aaron Ramsdale signed for Newcastle. It was a kind of up in the air, wasn't it, as to who was going to be the number one, him or Nick Pope. Nick Pope started the season, started very well. What does this mean for Aaron going forward?
I think Aaron's got to be a little bit patient. He's gone to a new club off the back of a relegation. I think Popey's been excellent. Popey's had his injuries. I know he missed a few games last year, didn't he? I think they're two. I wouldn't say they're two. I think they are probably two completely different goalies.
Yeah.
In some respects, in terms of Aaron's ability with the ball at his feet, which is probably the one area of Popey's game I think he's found hard, and I think he always has. Don't get me wrong, he can shell it, but when he's put under pressure and there's an onus on him to play, I think that's where Aaron, in my opinion, is obviously better. I think Aaron will have to be patient. Popey is a very consistent goalie though. He doesn't make many mistakes.
Yes.
So it's always worrying when you go in as a number 2 and you're behind someone like that.
So annoyingly
It's
consistent.
so annoying because you're thinking he's not going to throw one in. Because that's why he's such a great goalie, Popey, because he's so reliable and he always has been.
Yeah.
If you look at his time at Burnley and even while he's been at Newcastle, he's been different class. So, but Popey's also not getting any younger. I think Aaron's obviously got a few years on him. I'd be interested to know what the age gap is. But look, Aaron's got time. I think he will have to be patient. But he will need at some point, if he's really going to be considering getting back in the England setup and really having a push, he's going to need to start playing some games at the top.
Yeah, the problem they've got is they're both number 1 goalkeepers.
I agree.
None of them are number 2. None of them. They're both starters and should be on our tellies every Saturday afternoon, shouldn't
Absolutely.
they? And I don't like seeing it. I don't like seeing somebody sat on the bench that doesn't deserve to be there.
Popey's 33 now. Aaron's 27.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah,
mate,
okay.
I personally
But
don't
I
think
think
I got into my prime until gone 30.
I think he's got some time, Aaron, definitely. But as you say, I completely agree. There's a number of clubs that he could play for, Aaron, tomorrow in the Premier League, absolutely, and if not around Europe. I actually thought, going back to what happened at Arsenal, I was initially really disappointed with how it was handled, because I felt as though he was unreal. I thought for Arsenal, I really do think that. I thought he was different class. I thought his character. You could see what he meant to their team. You could see the relationship he had built with his supporters.
I know.
He was so refreshing, and he was like, if I was a young boy and I was going to watch the Arsenal, I'd be looking at him thinking, I want to be Aaron Ramsdale. And it was just it was like cut short quite brutally. And then obviously, they signed him from Brentford. And I'm thinking, I'd seen him play at Blackburn.
David, yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen him play at Blackburn. So I was well aware of how good he was, but just didn't think it was. I didn't think he was the right one at that time. But however, looking at it now, they got it spot on. Not because of not because Aaron's not good enough, but at that time, when you look at it now in hindsight, it's worked out extremely well for the club.
No, I agree. I think David has stepped his game up again and again.
Yeah.
He's, for me, probably top 3 Premier League goalkeepers at the minute in that league. He is definitely in that top 3.
So who's ahead of
Absolutely.
him? Alisson?
I'm putting Alisson in there, and I still absolutely adore Emi Martinez. I do. I absolutely
They're my
adore
3.
him.
Yeah,
adore
they'd be my 3. I've got to say.
Going to be interesting to see what happens with Emi Martinez now, though, because if he doesn't get a move anywhere, then he's going to have to go back to Aston Villa. And you saw the interview with Unai Emery before the game the other day.
Talk about him, would he?
He wouldn't talk about him one little bit.
I think something's gone on there. Look, with respect to Villa, okay, look, he's arguably one of the greatest goalkeepers in the world.
Yeah,
and I think he'll be in a mid-table Premier League team this year. I really do. I don't think Villa are going to hit the heights they have done. Certainly with how well they've done in the last couple of seasons, but I think he would. I think he deserves a move. I think he's been one of Villa's best goalkeepers in modern in recent years, for example. And I bet you he's now obviously thinking about the clock as well in his mind.
Yeah, for sure.
He's probably thinking, how
old's Emmy Martinez? I'm going 31.
I think he's older.
32?
I think he's.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
I think I'd say he's probably 32, 33.
He is 32.
What time? Yeah, 32.
He's 33 tomorrow.
No.
I was close. I said 32. 33.
That's why the clock's ticking.
That's why the clock's ticking. He's 33 tomorrow.
So,
I just looked at it. I was what? Huh?
So his so his football clock is it's not a million miles away, but if he needs a big one, it's going to be a big one now because he's going to sign a 4 or 5 year deal or 3-4 year deal,
that's
going to be his big one, and that's going to be for a club that you would expect to be challenging in the Champions League and one of the biggest clubs, whether it's in this country or elsewhere.
We've got a few other goalies we want to touch on. Just a lot of goalkeeper merry-go-round was going on this season. Yeah. One of the big news is Man City. So obviously, for some reason, Ederson's not fancied anymore, which boggles my head a little bit because I still think Ederson's got an awful lot to offer.
Why do you think?
Is that a him thing or a club thing or a Pep thing?
I honestly don't know.
I think it's a bit similar to the Harty one, when it just come out of the blue a little bit.
And that he's made his mind now, and that's it. It's done.
But I think he does that, Pep. I think once he's closed the door, it's not opening again.
Yeah, he's done.
So I think he's done it with players in the past. You know, look, almost like the Sterling one or the Grealish one. It's like once you're not playing, you're not playing. And I'm surprised because I think Ederson is some goalie, by the way. But more importantly, he's going to a club like Fenerbahce. Like, I find that one. I'm thinking he's got to go to a European giant.
Yeah, monster.
It's going to be a top Italian club. It's going to be one of the best in La Liga,
Spain or Bundesliga.
Yeah, somewhere like that. I just find it so hard to believe that he's going to Fenerbahce. I just don't get it. It's a strange one.
So it does seem strange because he's 30. What's he? 32.
32. Got to be.
He's 32. Last week.
Yeah, tomorrow's birthday, yeah. But I just still think he's got a good 3 or 4 years left. I still think I think nowadays a modern professional goalkeeper specifically.
You're going to your 38, 30.
Mate, 30.
38,
well, what did you retire at 40?
40, but I was still playing Premier League at 38 and
mate,
I felt good as well.
You were like 36, 37, 38. You were as good as you ever were.
Yeah,
I genuinely think
that's why I think like people say about Martinez's age or Ederson's age. And I'm thinking, no chance. You've still got 3 or 4 years left. You have of top level as well.
Do you know what the thing is as well?
Do you know what? They'll probably play a little bit longer now, the goalies, because they probably didn't train like we did many years ago.
And they never used to boot. They don't boot them as much as we used to boot them.
They don't kick it, so their thighs and their hamstrings and their hips and their back. I guarantee you now the pitches are better.
Yeah.
I think goalies will start playing on a lot longer. Because I think that the minutes in training, we used to get flogged. It was like hammer time every session.
Pitch, yeah.
It was like cannon fodder, shooting drills,
and
like
especially
pitches
now
were rock hard. It was
with the cup competitions, you
often share it.
Cup goalie,
you
weren't they?
rotated around a little bit more as well. So Man City did go and sign James Trafford.
Yeah.
What do you think about that bit of business?
Do you know what? I really thought it was a great signing, and I still do.
Yeah.
But what would you be thinking if you're James Trafford and you've just gone to City?
My head's boggling, mate. My head is boggling.
I'm going, what have I done here? This is like a major boo-boo. I could have stayed. I could have either stayed at Burnley or I could have gone to another Premier League club and I could have guaranteed myself first-team football. It might not be in a club the size of Man City, but at least I know I'm going to play. Because if Donnarumma comes in and does start, you're going to do well to get him out.
He's 23 in October, James Trafford. So he's obviously young. But with the nature of his signing, we talked about this earlier, but do you think he could go on loan, Ben?
I can't see it. I can't see that. I think because he is so used to trying to play the ball out from the back, I think Pep Guardiola will want that in his training sessions anyway, regardless of whether he's number 1 or number 2.
Because he's going to help players around him.
He wants that. He wants his goalies to be setting that off in, because Donnarumma ain't that guy, by the way. Donnarumma is not the kind of guy.
That's what shocks me. Because
I know. So why are they buying him then?
That's why he didn't fancy Harty. And now he's signing someone like Donnarumma.
So is he just going to go long ball again?
No, Pep Guardiola, he won't do that. He won't do that. Even Ederson could mix it up. But Ederson mixed it up. Yeah, but I'm talking Ederson would go behind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think...
But the reason that Luis Enrique got rid of him at PSG is because he's not a ball-playing goalkeeper. I say, we went to watch him in the Champions. Mate, he ain't interested in trying to find those little passes. He'll do the simple ones, right? But if you start putting him under pressure, you can tell he's uncomfortable.
What does that say to you about Pep then, Ben? What's...
I don't know, mate. This is what the whole thing is boggling my head.
It doesn't seem like... Me personally, that doesn't feel like a Pep signing. As a goalkeeper, yes, he's world class. He's one of the greatest in the world. I'm not denying that, and he's still got a massive future because he's still got years and years to play. But with the style of football that Pep Guardiola teams play, I just didn't see that being
maybe he's changed priorities to go, I want my goalkeeper to stop the ball going in the back of the net.
Is this really
maybe
offensive?
he's changed it.
Is this really offensive to even think that Mourinho was the god until he wasn't, right?
Are you saying that Pep's passed it?
What I'm saying is that everyone's time comes, right? And Sir Alex Ferguson was 30-odd years, Wenger, but football didn't change at the rate that it probably is now. So at some point, Mourinho passed his peak and
Pep might be
carried on. No, what I'm saying is that day... that day coming?
I don't know. I think things with certain formations and styles are a bit sort of they come back round.
Is he still the gold standard right now?
I would say so. I would probably still say so. But I
think he's a one manager that any player in the world will still
wants to play for.
Yeah.
I agree. I think if they're signing Donnarumma, then he's going to play. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But maybe they've gone, right, we just want the guy that's going to stop the ball going in the back of the net. Go to that Champions League game.
But
I'll
you're
say it
going
again.
on like Trafford's like an honour.
Trafford's
He's
a number one
goalkeeper.
mate. This is why it boggles me, because we've got two England number ones, potential England number ones sat on the bench. Then, James Trafford and Aaron Ramsdale just sat on the bench. Like they shouldn't be doing that. They should be on my television screens on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I know his record last season. Trafford, was it 29 clean sheets?
Mate, it's ridiculous. Mate,
I mean, frightening. I know he probably had, fewer shots to save than probably most teams.
Mate, but either way, to keep that many clean sheets, you are pulling wonders out.
29 in a season.
I think it might have been more or something.
That's got to be close to a record.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, well, 16 goals I think he let, and he missed the last game of the season.
But do you think though, Ben, is there what we don't know is what we're not privy to is if Pep's had this conversation with
true.
James Trafford, maybe he's gone. Listen, you might
get
the chance all season, but
yes. I agree. But the problem you've got is that Donnarumma's 27 years old and he has got another 10 years playing. Right? How many games has Gigi Donnarumma played in his career? How many do you think this is?
I reckon he's probably played. How old is he? He started when he was 16.
27 years old. Started when he was 16.
Almost had 10 years. Well, he's had 10 years. I reckon. What's that? I reckon he's played 380 games.
No, it's just under 500. Mate, he's 27
500.
years old. He's got 74 caps for Italy.
74 caps for Italy. Listen to this.
He started at 16.
When he started playing at 16, when he started playing at 16, he missed one league game in 5 years. At 16,
once he got in, yeah.
Mad.
At 16. First of all, right, any 16-year-old that plays consistently, you're expecting mistakes, and you might take him out for a little bit because he's only 16, 17, 18, even 19. You'll take him out for a few weeks or whatever, right? Yeah. To miss one league game for AC Milan, in 5 years.
It was 5. So he's got in. He's got in the 15. Right, he's 27. He got in the 15-16 season.
He's played 74 international games.
74.
Buffon was like
Buffon might be close to 200.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Wait there, how many's Buffon got, do you reckon?
Buffon's going to have 100 and something.
175, I'm saying.
Something ridiculous, But that's what we're dealing with here. Yeah. So if they sign...
176.
You're not signing anyone like Donnarumma to not play. So it's ridiculous. I just don't get it. I don't like seeing English goalies sat on the bench either. I don't like it one little bit.
I don't. But I do love seeing the best goalkeepers come to the Premier League.
That,
and Donnarumma is one of the best goalies in the world.
He's one of the best goalies in the world.
So when I'm watching...
goalkeepers, I'm talking goalkeepers. I went to, again, going back to the Champions League semi-final, I was there early doors. We got in the stadium early. I went to watch a warm-up. I wanted to see Donnarumma with the warm-up, right? Yeah. And there were moments where he was proper sloppy, lazy with his goalkeeper coach. And he would serve one and he would like just pat it down or pat it away, or little save collapse dives where he wouldn't even attempt to try and catch it. I'm thinking, come on, mate. Champions League semi-final here,
And then you got in the game.
You better switch on a little bit, mate, in the game.
What about some of the saves?
Colossus, genuinely. Arsenal were like, that should be a goal.
I remember there was 2 saves.
Unreal.
They're saves that you just
they're once in a season.
You're like,
they're one a season saves, and he made 2 in one game.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. It was.
What about the England number 1 spot? So as right now, Pickford and Dean Henderson, right?
Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson, and James Trafford are the 3 that have been picked into the England squad. It's not even up for question, is it, that anybody other than Jordan Pickford is going to be England's number 1, right?
No chance. I think Jordan he's been so consistent for the country. He's been so reliable. You're going to do really what you're going to have to move mountains to shift him out the side at the minute. And
would he have to have a horrendous season to not play next summer?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm talking like a relegation type season.
I don't think he's got it in him, Stacky. I don't
No.
think he has got a bad season in Jordan Pickford. I don't think Dean Henderson now is at this level where it's such a high level as well. Like, he is playing probably some of the best football he's ever played, right? And I think he's on this sort of same path as Jordan Pickford, where I know I'm going to get a 7.5 out of 10.
Do you think that's because he's found a bit? He feels at home now.
Feels at home,
Feels
mate.
at
It
home.
all works. It's perfect for him, isn't it? Dean Henderson's comfy. It works, and Jordan Pickford's been in that little system for best part of nearly 10 years, probably for Everton as well, where he's comfy now. He feels at home. Do you know what I mean? And I just don't think Jordan Pickford's got a bad season in him now. He's too good of a goalkeeper. He's too experienced. He's got too much behind him.
Yeah,
It's a nice place to be, isn't it?
It's lovely. I don't think I was ever there, but you can just see, like, even when he plays for England, I think the belief that other players have in him, I think around him, they're confident, they're happy with giving him the ball, putting him under pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, look, sometimes I've got to be honest, he drives me mad. He's probably the nicest fella in the world, but he gets so emotional. And he does. He just starts shouting at people. Now, I would imagine there'd be centre half, so it'd probably get the ump with him. They'd probably be like, "Will you just shut up and just keep the ball out the net and just stop shouting at everyone?" He's running out of his box and he's charging down at the box, and I'm looking at it thinking, I would love to know what he's just said there to the centre half.
We noticed it in the Euros, didn't we? Like, massively.
He's like off
bit
the
emotional.
hinges, off the
He's a bit
hinges.
emotional. Listen, I don't know him personally, and I think he's an incredible goalie and what a top servant to not only English football but to the national team. I couldn't speak highly enough of him. But when I do watch him, and I've always been like that with some goalies. I mean, because Jens Lehmann, he said to me, he just said, "Look, I remember obviously doing quite well in a penalty shoot, and he just said, look, just some advice." He said, "Don't get too emotional during a game." He said, because it can affect you. Like, if you have something to do after, you maybe get too high.
Jens was pretty emotional, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, Jens was pretty.
Was he?
No, when he lost the plot, he was emotional. He'd want to kill someone. But actually, in his goalkeeping, he was very calm. He was very controlled, and he was quite. You know, you always knew with Jens that he would never be phased. You know, unless it was he wanted to kill someone, which he often wanted to do. But that was just his. I don't think that was a goalkeeping thing. I think that was more of a personal thing, to be honest. But yeah, that's the only thing I've thought with Jordan in the past, that he can get a bit hyped up and a bit emotional.
Do you know what I really like? You've alluded to it a couple of times already today. Is I think a good way of judging a goalkeeper, whether they're a good goalie, is the reaction of others around him, the players that play with him, his defence. If your defence are happy with you, and your defence love you, that's because they trust you and they like you and they know you're a good goalie. And you know it when you're a goalie as well.
Yeah.
You know if your defenders are having you. And you
Yes.
also know it just the same if your defenders are not having you. And when they're not
It's
having
horrible
you,
when they're not having
it's a horrible place to be.
They turn around and just keep going like that, like, what are you doing? It's horrible.
The old.
Honestly,
There's nothing better.
It's horrible.
I've experienced it, and I'm sure you have. When you make a worldie and they're coming up to you and they're jumping on you, they're cuddling, they're giving you high fives and all that, and I think like there's no better feeling because it's coming from your teammates. It's like your peers. But when you absolutely have one and a goal has gone in and you're thinking, I've got to save that, and you look up and you turn around and everyone's just looking at you like that, that is horrible. I just want the ground to swallow you up.
Oh, brilliant. Last few goalies, mate. Boughton episode, honestly. And again, we'll put the link to the boxing in the description down below. Last couple of goalies. Kelleher left Liverpool to sign for Brentford. Good signing?
Top signing. Again, Mr. Reliable, always comes in, never lets them down, even comes in for some huge games in a title run-in where the eyes are on you and there's no room for error. There's no time for mistakes. Come in and he just sort of seemed to just lap it all up. Loved it. Just so consistent, and all of his games, like even representing the Republic, I think he'll be there for a long time.
Nice and calm and composed. Talk about not getting emotional. I don't think I've ever seen his face do anything other than just be nonplussed, just straightforward, just nothing.
Yeah.
Brilliant, isn't it?
He's got that seriousness about him, innit?
Yeah. Martin Dubravka left Newcastle to sign for Burnley. Had a fantastic start to the season.
Yep. Again, liked him. I think it was always on the cards that he was going to leave, wasn't it? Looking at the reaction from him last season, I think there was a couple of games that he had played in. Yeah. It was almost like a farewell. So, I think a good signing for Burnley. Experienced. I think he's shown already what a capable goalie he is, and I think he'll be a great acquisition to the Burnley side.
Brilliant. Stacky, top class, mate. Thank you so much for coming in.
Cheers,
for telling us about the boxing, for telling us about the goalkeeping
Looking forward to that. We're going to be ringside, aren't we?
Yeah, you'll be there.
Damn right we'll be there as well. We've got the Fozcast table. Stacky, you're the man. Appreciate that for the second time at the Fozcast.
Up the Fozcast. Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed the latest episode of the Fozcast. Don't forget to give us a follow on Spotify. Up the Fozcast.